Saber blade.
Hello and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros, and we've got an exciting one today because we're going to be looking at OTS, which stands for Off the Spectrum, by the guys over at One Source Supplements. It's their nootropic-based stim pre-workout, and it does look very cool. It's like a shiny Pokemon card in appearance, and it has got a stacked formula. Lots of painted ingredients as well. So we're hoping for good things as we cover the usuals. Taste, price, label, effects, all coming at you. It could just be your next pre-workout. And if you do like our videos, please do hit the like button, hit the sub button, tick the bell icon. So we drop about 3 reviews a week. But today, let's get into this one. So, first segment of any review, taste and mixability, and we're going to be trying out the flavour Raspberry Lemon Sherbet. Also comes in Cherry Cola Candy and Mango Daiquiri, according to the website. So, this one sounds very tasty though. We've whacked in the serving amount, 2 scoops. Mixability, it's a little bit worse than average, I'll be honest, but then again, it is a bigger than average serving amount, and some of the ingredients in there are a challenge to mix. And as long as it's doable to some extent, mixability is very rarely a factor that stops you from taking the product. So, and it's fine in this regard. As you get down, you sort of swivel it like that and you just neck it. It's not a problem, you're just gonna have to trust me. Anyway, used it a couple of times before obviously, but today, let's give it a go on camera. I'll let you know what I think. Yeah, the actual flavour's really nice and accurate. It's a nice sweet kind of flavour. I wouldn't say it's really too sour. There is some chalkiness to it. It's quite a relatively thick consistency, like I say, because of some of the ingredients in here. But the flavour itself is actually really nice. I'll give it another sip and then I'll give you a score. Quite unique tasting, I will give it that. I would say, oh, this is difficult. If I'm factoring in everything, the taste, the mixability, the consistency, I'd be happy to give it a strong 7.5 out of 10. You know, if I was doing flavour alone, it might even be more like an 8, 8.5 out of 10. But so I guess we could say 8 out of 10 as an average on the taste and mixability standpoint. But basically, yeah, this tastes good. I'm sure the other flavours are just as good. Yeah, it's looking like a strong start to review. Let's move into the price point. Okay, so to pick this up, you'll head over to their official website, onesourcesupps.co.uk, where you can use our discount code RB10, we'll knock off 10%. You can pick up this 40/20 serving tub for £36. And obviously we go by the maximum serving, so it's going to work out as 20 servings rather than 40 on the full serve. So when you work that out, price per serving, it comes to £1.80. Now we have a consistent price scale that measures how expensive pre-workouts are from across the world, where a 5 out of 10 is a bang average typical price point for pre-workouts as of today. This comes in at a 4.5 out of 10, so slightly more expensive than an average price point on the market. And I will say, factoring everything in, at least on the label alone, it looks like it's priced pretty damn good. But obviously we'll be covering all of that very shortly. The label, the real world effects, all coming at you. Ultimately, will it be worth that price point? Let's find out. Okay, label time, let's get into this. So we've got ourselves 2 scoops. It doesn't actually say on the tub here how big the serving amount is, but it does say on their website, and I did write it down, so bear with me. 21.7 gram serving amount, and the scooper seems to be, at a flat scoop, about 10 grams. So even if you did go by this 2 scoop recommendation, you would hopefully be getting in the realms of that. But obviously we do prefer it to be on the tub listed the exact amount, so people can weigh it out and know exactly how much they're ingesting. Because with 2 scoops, you're going to get people that do a flat scoop, people that do a heap scoop, and people that do a mega heap scoop. So there could be a differential of a good few grams there. But like I say, if you do a mostly flat scoop, you should come in the realms of the 21 grams. But yeah, just for, you know, a recommendation to the company, would be great to see that updated in the future on the actual packaging itself. Unless I'm completely blind and it is somewhere, but I couldn't see it. But like I say, it does say it on their website, so it could be worse. Anyway, L-citrulline, 7 grams, really solid dose there. Most people are happy with 4, 5, 6 grams, so 7 is above and beyond. It's an amino acid responsible for bumping up your nitric oxide levels and getting you that pump on. Love to see it. And then we've got betaine anhydrous at 2.5 grams, another lovely dose. That's a jack of all trades in that it's going to help with your endurance, your pumps, your power, your athletic performance. It's a good one to have. Then we've got glycosize at 2 grams, a relatively decent dose. That's obviously glycerol, so it's going to pull water into the muscle cell, hyperhydration. That's going to help with your endurance, your pumps, and your overall performance in the gym. And 2 grams is a respectable dose. I think you don't really often see more than sort of like 4 or 5 grams in a pre-workout amongst other ingredients because of the clumping issues. However, I will say at this dose, there are no clumping issues in this tub, and I've had this open for a little while now and I've used it a few times. So fingers crossed it's not a problem in this pre. But yeah, fantastic ingredient. We personally really like it anyway. Then we've got L-tyrosine at 2 grams, a really nice dose there. Again, you normally only see about 1 gram, so double the norm. Amino acid for your focus and your mood. Then we've got beta-choline, which is a registered patented version of choline bitartrate at 1200 milligrams. Normally, choline bitartrate is seen to be the worst of the choline donors in terms of like it struggling to cross the blood-brain barrier. However, because they got it in at a whopping dose and it's a patented, more pure, potent version of the ingredient, we're hoping for good things. So yeah, great to see that in here for additional focus, concentration and athletic performance boosting benefits, because as you may or may not know, you do deplete your choline levels when you train in the gym, so it's nice to have that initial top up. Then we've got taurine at 1 gram, which is a nice dose. That's in there for a bit of a jack of all trades again, amino acid that is going to help with your energy production within the body, your hydration and pumps, and a bit of cognitive aid as well. And then we've got coca mineral, which is a trademark patented version of coconut powder at 1 gram. That's a really solid dose. That's obviously going to help with your hydration, pumps, nutrient delivery, and ultimately your athletic performance in the gym. And then we move down to lion's mane, which is a really nice nootropic at 600 milligrams. That's a good dose. It's going to help obviously with your focus, mood, concentration. Caffeine anhydrous, 400 milligrams, not to be sniffed at. That's anything from 50 to 100 milligrams more than typical. So we are getting into realms of it being on the top end of what you could perhaps get away with as a daily use product. It's the main stimulant. It's obviously going to wake you up and get you moving. Which is the equivalent of more than a couple of energy drinks or four really strong cups of coffee. So yeah, it's not to be sniffed at, that dose. Then we've got NeuroPEA, which is a registered potent pure version of Urea gerensis at 300 milligrams, a really nice dose again. That's a nootropic, a mild stimulant, but it's ultimately going to help with your focus and drive and energy levels in the gym. Then we've got pine bark extract at 300 milligrams, lovely. That helps with your blood flow. It's got some antioxidant properties as well, so ultimately it's again going to play into the pumps. Then we've got pink Himalayan salt, 250 milligrams, nice. Love to see that in a pre-workout. Again, helping with your hydration, muscular contractions, muscle firing, getting the pump on, getting a good session. Then we move down to Mucana Purines, 98%, 200 milligrams, lovely. That's in here for anti-mental fatigue. It's going to help with your mood and your focus levels. Just get your mind right to train, essentially. Then we've got copaibuterol, 100 milligrams, which contains theobromine. It's a multi-beneficial ingredient that it helps with it's got a bit of mild stimulation, so it helps with your energy levels, it helps with your focus, it helps with your mood. It's got other health benefits as well. It's a good one to have, and that is a registered potent version of it. That's going to obviously tie in nicely with the caffeine for a bit of extra stimulation. Then we've got estrogen at 35 milligrams, respectable dose. I think the typical you see is about 50 milligrams, but 35, it's definitely great to see in there regardless. It's going to help with the uptake and absorption of all of these ingredients, getting them all through you as quickly and efficiently as possible. So yeah, it looks like a hella stacked label. I'm really liking that. It looks very unique. It's covering all the bases you'd want in a pre-workout, from energy, focus, pumps to endurance. Even some mild fat burning benefits you might get there from some of the stimulants. So yeah, it looks fantastic, I'm not going to lie. Anyway, let's get down the gym and then I'll let you know the real world effects with this one. Guys, we're into the effects section, and if you can hear banging and popping, it's not World War III outside, it's just fireworks, so just roll with it. The mic may or may not pick it up, just as an FYI, I'm not in a war zone. But anyway, let's get into the effects of OTS in the several times I've used it. And we would normally start off at the beginning with beta-alanine in pre-workouts, but you may or may not remember the label, it's actually not in this one, which, I say this every time, can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on if you like the ingredient or not. Personally, I do like beta-alanine, but I like to have the option to not have it sometimes, just because you're not always in the mood for it. It's a bit like changing your seasoning on your dinner or lunch or whatever. Like, you don't always want to be forced to have the same flavour. So it's nice to have really stacked out pre-workouts without beta-alanine. So yeah, that's a plus in that regard. Obviously, if you love it, no matter what, then yeah, you will be a bit upset, but you can always chuck it in as a separate add-on ingredient if you're that fussed about it. So anyway, you don't feel any itchy, tingly effect from this pre-workout, so yeah, you don't necessarily notice it kicking in from that standpoint. However, after about 20 to 30 minutes, you do definitely feel an urge to get moving. The clarity, alertness, and energy levels start to ramp up, your heart rate goes up a little bit, you're like, yep, it's go time. So let's talk about the energy first, like we always do. I would say on the very strong end of a daily driver, like pushing the limit of what you could get away with as a daily driver, in terms of the energy feel and the caffeine and the stimulants in general. For me personally, obviously it's person dependent. The energy lasts a good few hours. Obviously I've gone down the gym, trained, come back, sorting some food, and I still feel alert. So there's no crash, come down nastiness attached to the energy. It's very smooth and consistent. It does come in relatively strong, obviously with it being 400 milligrams all in one hit. So you definitely feel on the ball and ready to get moving. I would still say it's smooth though. It's not like it's erratic energy. It comes in nicely and it leaves nicely on the other end. So yeah, the energy is absolutely spot on. It's sufficient to get through pretty much any gym day. For the majority of people, I would imagine this is more than enough for a typical gym session. So energy, thumbs up. And then we move on to focus, which I would say was at least as good as the energy, if not a little bit better even. I felt very dialed in, very productive on this pre-workout to a very noticeable degree. I wouldn't say that I felt euphoric on it, like woo, but I felt quite serious and dialed in. Like I would describe it as quite a serious feeling pre-workout. Like, you know, pop your music in, crack on with your sets. You're going to failure. You're having a productive gym session. It feels like it's really geared towards, you know, getting you gains and you taking your session seriously rather than a muck around type pre-workout from every standpoint, not just the focus. So yeah, it's more like a tunneled in kind of focus rather than like kind of focus. You'll know what I mean if you take pre-workouts. So yeah, really rate that. Like I said, probably even better than the energy, and the energy was good enough as it is. Talking about the final thing, oh sorry, I will just say there is no sort of like illicit kind of vibes with this pre-workout. So there's no, obviously you've seen the label, but sometimes companies, not saying these guys do it, some companies sneak ingredients into labels and you don't necessarily know how they're going to come through in the real world. But yeah, it feels legit, it feels healthy, it doesn't feel like there's any dodgy underground illicit stimulants snuck in there, so nothing to worry about on that standpoint. And then moving into the pumps, which again, I don't think this pre-workout's leaving any holes, because even the pumps were seriously nasty. Seriously nasty. Like I'd even stopped after my first, I think it was my second set for back day today, and yeah, even my arms were getting swollen from just doing some rows. So the pumps are seriously good as well, and that's to come to be expected with the ingredients in this. It's giving you more than enough to get a juicy pump. So yeah, it really is a fully fleshed out, giving you everything you need for your training session pre-workout, and without a doubt I'll be using it again, there's no denying it. Yeah, fantastic pumps. Obviously the glycerol gives you that watery kind of filled out look, appearance and feel, and then the nitric oxide boosters give you that sort of granity, dry, contractional pump. So it's another one of those pre's that's attacking it from multiple angles, which I really like. Endurance felt good on it. I was going heavy consistently and I felt strong right the way around to the end of the gym session. There's no negatives at all attached to this pre-workout. I'm about to crack on. I'm hungry, so it hasn't crushed my appetite. I think that sleep would generally be okay, but I still wouldn't take it too close to bedtime. You don't want to be pushing what you can get away with. I would say allow about 6 hours before bedtime taking this product. Yeah, there's no lethargicness, no sickiness, just nothing nasty from a negative standpoint of this pre-workout. It's very consistent and predictable every time. Yeah, it's a good one to have in your cupboard if you take your training seriously, and if you want something that's geared more towards Intermediate or elite level user pre-workouts, I'd say it's too strong for beginners, but you could half serve it, to be fair, although it has got some more fancy ingredients in here like Areogerensis and things like that, so maybe a beginner wouldn't potentially want that, but I would still say they'd be fine. I would still say a beginner would be fine on a half serving, absolutely. So with that being said, like I say, it's definitely for people that are trying to go for that hypertrophy bodybuilding style training, although strength athletes would still be okay, but I know that when you're doing, you know, if you're powerlifting or into your strongman type stuff, you don't necessarily want to get a pump because it could hinder your movement, so that's the only thing I would say, take that into account if you are someone that does strength training and you're considering this pre-workout, due to the pumps, because they are nasty in terms of, like, you'll get a hella good pump and quick. I would say definitely worth the price point. I would say you're paying slightly more than the bang average price point, but you're getting a much better pre-workout than the average price point. So highly, highly recommend it. I would say go out and buy it if you're in the market for this type of pre-workout. I wouldn't say avoid it, I wouldn't say shortlist it, I would just say straight up buy it. I've really enjoyed using it, and hopefully that comes through in the effects section of this review. And I wouldn't even be able to recommend that they change anything to the formula, because I think they've pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like, it's just, it come through so good. So yeah, I wouldn't say change anything, at least not for now anyway. So yeah guys, that does cover it. Let me know if you've used it down below. What do you think of it? Anything else you want to see us review on the channel, let us know down below as well. And as always, stay stimmed.